It's Ash from Super Videos back for another video for the Walking Dead universe. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the possibility of a reunion and conflict coming to the Walking Dead universe after some crossovers that might happen after Season 8 of Fear the Walking Dead. So stay tuned, we'll be right back to break this down. Alright, as always, before we dive into it, smash the like button, subscribe to join our community, and press the bell to be notified when I upload on the channel. With that said, let's dive right into it. So of course we know Season 8 of Fear the Walking Dead is going to be its final season, and what they're going to be doing in this final season is a 7-year time jump, which obviously many fans speculate to be confirmation that we're gonna see a major crossover between Fear the Walking Dead and some other Walking Dead properties. So we're gonna see major Fear the Walking Dead characters crossing over to one of the upcoming Walking Dead properties, like the Rick and Michonne show, the Walking Dead Dead City with Negan and Maggie, or the Daryl Dixon spin-off. Now, specifically, we're going to look at two crossover characters. One of them is Dwight. Obviously, Dwight was one of the saviors, one of Negan's men before the end of the war. And obviously, after the war, he was banished by Daryl and he found himself in Texas, where he crossed over to Fear the Walking Dead. Similarly, we have Sherry, who's obviously one of Negan's wives when Negan was the leader of the saviors. Now, one key opportunity here for the writers to do is to cross these characters over back to the original story of The Walking Dead. I mean, yes, Fear the Walking Dead was also part of The Walking Dead, but at the same time, the story was isolated and it feels like they didn't really expand upon and they didn't really capitalize on the backstory for Dwight and Sherry when they crossed them over to Fear, especially because Morgan was already there. But an opportunity here is for them to do that exact thing. We know that at this point, Morgan and Madison have found their way to PADRE, and we know that PADRE is a group that kidnaps kids, and they're in the business of taking kids away from their parents and then bringing them in to this place so that they would have a better life from their perspective. Now, what's super interesting is that what we are seeing revealed about The Walking Dead Dead City with Negan and Maggie is that they're gonna be looking, or specifically searching, for Herschel Jr., who's been kidnapped. So this is definitely something that could glue these two stories together. I mean, what we could end up seeing is Dwight and Sherry, they go out there, try to find where Morgan and Madison are, and then through that journey to try to find them, they actually may stumble upon Negan and Maggie. Now, obviously, they're gonna have to write this story in a way where they disappear in Fear the Walking Dead and then we don't really see them until Dead City. But in some ways, that is a little bit of lazy writing, but at the same time, there's no workaround for that. That's the only way that it could work. Unless they do bring Negan and Maggie in a limited capacity for maybe one episode where we actually see this big reunion between Dwight, Sherry, and Negan. That reunion will spark conflict right away. Now, because Maggie is involved, things could get even more interesting because Dwight and Sherry might really look at Negan and Maggie together and not know what's going on, and they might actually get a feeling that something's up, something is not right. And maybe after the initial conflict is over with, what we might end up seeing is they realize that they have similar objectives. Dwight and Sherry are looking for Morgan and Madison, who were captured by this group who kidnaps kids. And then Negan and Maggie are looking for Herschel Jr., who's been kidnapped by a group. So they might actually end up joining forces to be able to go against PADRE or something like that. Now, when it comes to Morgan and Madison, where they fit in, I mean, they could do a lot with them. I think when it comes to Morgan, one big possibility is that he might cross over to the Rick and Michonne show, and that might happen in a way where he's escaping from Padre and then he finds Rick and Michonne or something like that. Now, when it comes to Negan, another key thing to factor in here is that we don't know what's going on with Negan and his wife. We know that Negan and his wife, or his new wife, had a kid, but we don't know what happened to their kid. Is their kid safe? Is he not safe? As part of that, Herschel Jr. was captured. We don't know if he was the only one. Maybe we have other children of the Walking Dead universe being captured by this group. Maybe Gracie as well. Maybe Negan's kid as well. All of those things could come together to make this even bigger and to have more things be at stake. Going back to what I said earlier, if Dwight and Sherry do see what's at stake and they do see that these kids are captured, they might actually join forces and help Negan and Maggie. The other part of it would obviously be this could create some additional awkwardness or conflict because we know Sherry was Negan's ex-wife. Things could get a little tricky as far as all of them being able to work together. If these three characters are able to put away their differences and work together, we might end up seeing some other stories being sparked from that. What I mean by that is after they find the kids, we might see some additional things with the three of them in terms of resolving their whole situation. And as part of that, another possibility is that we might not see this reunion right away. We might see this after the fact, after the kids are taken back. We might see Dwight and Sherry running into Negan, maybe with Maggie. And then that could be its own separate thing to deal with. And it could end up being its own type of story, maybe its own spin-off. Unlikely, but something to consider. And also another thing to keep in mind is it would be definitely super interesting to have something with Daryl as well. I mean, Dwight and Daryl have a history together too, so maybe we should factor in the Daryl Dixon show here as well, even though it'll be kind of difficult to make work because he's going to be in Paris, France for his spin-off, but maybe we could see something later on after Daryl comes back and finds his way back to America. But that's pretty much everything I wanted to go through. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, smash the like button, subscribe to join our community, and press the bell to be notified when I upload on the channel. That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video.